Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani, coming to you from Interop 2011 in Las Vegas. Thanks for watching. On our program today is Nick Ilyadis, the VP and CTO, Infrastructure and Networking Group, Office of the CTO at Broadcom. Nick, how are you?
Good. Good to be here.
So I wanted to start off by giving you a little bit of time to talk about Broadcom, your company, what your products are, etc.
Okay. So Broadcom is a global leader in semiconductors for wired and wireless communications. In 2010, we did almost $6.5 billion in revenue. We play in three major market segments: infrastructure and networking, which is what's represented at the show here today. We also are in mobile and wireless, handhelds and wireless LAN technologies, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. And our third major market is the connected home market: set-top boxes, connected TVs, satellite receivers, and such. So the Infrastructure Networking Group is responsible for producing semiconductors, microchips, that go into switches, servers as controllers, physical layer devices for gigabit, 10 gigabit, and 40 gigabit Ethernet, as well as processors and security devices. So a lot of the products that are being showcased here at the show by a lot of the OEMs have a lot of Broadcom content in them.
So in terms of the trends you've seen in the last few years, what are they?
So a major trend for the Infrastructure and Networking Group is the cloud data center, converged networking, and green IT. So those are three major announcements that we're also making at the show today, is around how our switches can address the challenges of the next generation data centers, and how our controllers, our NICs, that go into the servers can also address virtualization and support for the virtual switching that occurs inside of servers. And thirdly, how our technology around green IT can help reduce the power in these new networks.
Now, in terms of recent news, what are some of the things that have been announced?
So we announced our second generation 64-port 10 gigabit switch IC. This is the 56864 device. And that is 64 ports of 10 gigabit or 16 ports of 40 gigabit. And it was actually a finalist for Best of Show here today. We also announced the record-setting performance on our controller, our NIC, that goes into servers around Fiber Channel over Ethernet, FCOE. And we are demonstrating in our booth 1.7 million IOPS per second, which is twice what any of our competitors can achieve.
Wow.
Yes. And then thirdly, we're highlighting our green IT around Energy-Efficient Ethernet. Energy-Efficient Ethernet is a new technology that was just standardized by the IEEE last fall. And this is where the Ethernet PHY turns itself off when there's no data being sent. The analogy I like to use is the comparison between a combustion engine automobile and a hybrid automobile. When a hybrid automobile comes up to a stoplight and you put the brakes on and stop, the engine shuts off. Whereas a conventional combustion engine, even though you're stopped at the stoplight, the engine's still running. That's the way Ethernet used to work. Right. Even though there was no packets being sent, right, the PHY was turned on and sending full energy. What Energy-Efficient Ethernet does is it turns off the PHY when there's no data, and we can actually reduce power by 70% in the PHYs when there's no data being sent versus previous generation PHYs.
Because the typical device is used 30% of the time. Is that about
Actually,
right?
we find that for like desktop applications, it's 1% to 5% utilization, and even in data centers, 10% on average is typical. So 90% of the time, you're not sending data. Previous generation PHYs were actually burning power. Now they turn themselves off between packets.
So from a competitive standpoint, what are you seeing in the market?
So several other companies are now coming out with products that are similar to what Broadcom has shown out there. But what's important to realize is that we're on our 5th generation of 10 gigabit switch, and the products that they're trying to compete with for what we're showing today at the show are only being sampled, where ours are actually in production. So even though some of theirs may actually be leapfrogging our devices, we are in full production and 5th generation, so the maturity of our products, the software support is all there, and many products in this products from OEMs of this show are actually shipping today with our silicon in them.
So if I ask you what can we expect from your company over the next few years?
So the growth areas for us are the cloud data center. So we recently joined Open Network Foundation, OpenFlow, and I know there's an OpenFlow interoperability area over in the corner, and I look at it and there's many Broadcom enabled devices in that set of racks. So we're embracing OpenFlow, embracing the Open Networking Foundation we just got formed. In cloud, we're developing technologies to move the new edge of the network into the server. So what's happened with virtualization is you have the network edge now no longer being the connector that's on the back of the server, but the actual network edge is now inside the server. It's that virtual switch that the virtual machines all talk into. So now you need to push the switching technology into the server, enable that to have the same type of functionality that you had in the physical switches outside the server.
Fantastic. Thanks so much for being here today.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.